Greetings everybody and welcome back to another livestream recap. As you might know, I'm ImagineerDave, the host of this channel, and I work towards Minecraft's most realistic railway. That being said, today I'd like to take you into the episodes 221 till 230 of the Create SMP series. So let's dive right into what happened starting at episode 221. In episode 221, I continued the work with Shepperton City. In the last recap, I ended off by setting up the roads that surround this new housing block that I started, so now it's time to fill it in. I started with the designing of a few houses next to the town hall. My plan here was to surround two sides of the town hall with buildings. Where these two sides would meet, there would be a street going parallel to the main street, going out next to the alley that's there. After finishing up some houses, I went back to the survival map to clean up the area and get ready to build these houses in game. And in episode 222, I did so. Using my storage container and the cannon that's inside of it, the houses were quickly built in game, forming one side of facades behind the town hall. After this was done, it was again back to the creative single player world to work on more house designs. This designing of houses continued on in episode 223. By now I had made quite some houses, and even though you might think it will get easier the more you build, it actually gets harder. See, within the area I wanted to get similarities but at the same time diversity. By using same sorts of bricks and shop facades and same sorts of roofing, I got a good ratio in diversity and similarity. The only problem here is that there are just so many combinations of roof shapes, window shapes and facade shapes that things were starting to look a little too similar maybe. Before getting into the 90-degree builds, it was however time to get more buildings in game and work on the surroundings. In episode 224, the previously designed houses were built in game and I started on decorating the area where the other sides of the housing block would eventually be. In this area, I previously decided that the road would come up through a ramp which was cut into the raised area. By adding two retaining walls, I could make sure that the low level remained relatively flat for future buildings and the top level also remained relatively flat for the upcoming builds. And those upcoming builds would be started in 225 of course, where the first houses were quickly done. Because this isn't on a 45-degree angle, it's a lot easier to combine the basic shaping phase with the detailing phase itself. Because of this, designing time can be sped up by quite a bit, although I must say, you have to watch out that buildings don't turn out too similar again, since you would probably reuse details again. Episode 226 marked another episode where we worked on buildings. However, this time around it was mostly focused on one of the corner buildings. Due to some replay mod errors, I sadly lost the design part of the corner store, but you can see the result being built right in front of you. For those that might not know yet, every so often I put my builds out on Patreon, as is with this one. If you also want this cluster of 4 buildings, go check out my Patreon since it's on there right now, just like a lot of other schematics. In episode 227, I started off by making a layout design for the future buildings. Since this area of land had both 90-degree facades and 45 degrees, it was essential to plan out the footprint of the buildings to see where the eventual corners would be. After the footprints were done, it was back to designing buildings, where this time it was another corner shop. Since this corner would most likely be viewed from either the front or at 45 degrees, I decided to pull the bottom shop front a bit around the corner. This adds some variation and it makes the side feel more like a front as well. All in all, I think it's a great building. More progress means more in-game building, right? And that's what I left off at in episode 227. Since this housing block wasn't done yet, you might be able to already guess it. It was back to designing world and in episode 228 to work on more buildings. These buildings would be right behind the town hall and finish off the earlier set vibe that I wanted to go for behind the town hall itself. When I started off on the second house, I decided to split the replay mod recording into another part, which as you can see caused some errors. See, replay mod is super nice and super necessary, it's just a little buggy from time to time. So if you ever see this in the future, don't worry, I haven't cleared all the copycats and I'm not giving a building another livery, it's just that the saving of the replay mod didn't work correctly. It almost starts to feel like a pattern, doesn't it? In episode 229 I started by adding the buildings in game, where you could also see that the copycats on the first building were still filled in. After these buildings, I felt like doing a bit of a different thing than just designing more and more and more buildings, so I went back for the surroundings. Whilst getting these buildings in game, I noticed that the plaza/road in front of them wasn't done yet, and neither was the intersection. I decided to finish off the area according to my first plan, but then realized something else. See, my neighbor Koen was also working on this area again, and well, how fun would it be to link up the two areas at least by road? Of course, there's already a road near the harbor side, but this wouldn't be able to cross the railroad really. In order to get on the opposite side of the tracks, I decided I would add a bridge going over the tracks to his area. I could use the current intersection, change it up to be a four-way instead, and make it lead up to the bridge and eventually his base. Last but not least, in episode 230 I added a bridge for this road. I didn't want another arch bridge or entirely a brick bridge, but instead I chose to go with a heavy-duty iron girder bridge. Most of the times I use these as train bridges, but due to the landscape and how the tracks cross the road on a 45-degree angle, I thought the length, or well, the span of the bridge would be long enough to add them in here as well. This, combined with maybe heavy cargo going over, would make a lot of sense and well, it would just look nice, okay? And with that being said, that was it for this livestream recap again. As always, I want to thank you so much for following along, as it really helps me to stay motivated and make more plans. If you want to check out these live streams, be sure to join my Discord down below to get notified when I'm live, or follow me here on YouTube to get community notifications. If you are looking for schematics, some can be found over at my Discord and others at my Patreon page, where I also posted, well, the buildings as earlier said. Again, I'd like to thank you for watching. This is ImagineerDave, signing off. So, bye bye!